Thank you, everybody. My name is Adolfo Carrión, and I'm very, very happy to be here standing with my friend, State Senator Adriano Espaillat. Before I begin, I have to say that I am an incorrigible shopper of farmers markets. And while I was coming up here from my office that's down at Battery Park, I walked past a farmers market, State Senator, and I got some baby bok choy.
Okay.
For organic from a New York State farm.
Excellent.
For tonight. So a little recipe. We'll have a press conference about recipes later. You take the bok choy, you saute it with a little sesame oil and some garlic, and you serve it with brown rice and fish. It's a healthy meal.
This is the guy that lives in City Island, you know?
Yes. But I'm delighted to be here. I'm here to endorse the candidacy of State Senator Adriano Espaillat in the 13th Congressional District in northern Manhattan and the West Bronx. I'm happy to do that because I believe that Adriano has what it takes to shake things up in Washington. We know that Washington is broken and that Congress is inactive and not working necessarily on behalf of all Americans. It's unfortunate. And it's time for change. I want to say what this is about. This is about change. 42 years ago, a young Charles Rangel challenged the establishment and the party establishment and the establishment powers in his district and said it was time for change and that he would represent a new generation of New Yorkers in northern Manhattan. That time came of age. He served well. We are very proud of him. This change is not a referendum on Charles Rangel. It's not an indictment on his record. His record is impeccable. It's a solid record. He's a great American hero. But what this is really about is the future. We're building a new New York. We're building the future of New York. And once again, it's time for change in leadership. I want to say, as a friend of Charles Rangel and somebody who admires and respects his record, I want to say thank you for your many years of service, sir. And I also want to say we stand on a solid foundation that you have poured. We've been the beneficiaries of your work, and now this generation of leaders is going to take the torch and move forward. And I believe that State Senator Adriano Espaillat, just look at his record in the State Assembly and the State Senate and what he has fought for. He's fought for working families. He's fought for fair and affordable housing. He's fought for workers' rights and civil rights and immigration reform. He has sponsored legislation to support immigrants. He's worked to ensure job generation in his district and the support of small businesses. And that's what this is really all about. So it's not about Joyce Johnson and it's not about Clyde Williams, wonderful people. It's certainly not about Charles Rangel, who has contributed so much. What this is really about is about ensuring that the next generation of leadership takes the mantle up, takes the agenda up, an agenda that is about education, about immigration reform, about housing that's fair and affordable for all New Yorkers, about national security and target cities security, and we know we are one of them, about expanding trade with Latin America and emerging markets around the world, about jobs, about small business development that's the engine of our economy. And we know that in northern Manhattan and in the Bronx, the small business community has sustained jobs and sustained those local economies. This is about ensuring that we deal with that obnoxious debt ceiling issue that has to be resolved. It's about dealing with a long-term deficit, budget deficit that we have, that right now this Congress is still afraid of dealing with. It's about healthy, sustainable tax reform that's fair. So what this is really about is about the next champion for New York, the next member of the New York delegation. This is about the great American story. Charlie Rangel represented that story in his generation, and we can say that this young whippersnapper of 57 years old represents that for this generation. So today, I am very, very proud to stand here on the steps of City Hall and give a vote of confidence to the future of New York and to the future of its leadership in the person of State Senator Adriano Espaillat. Thank you very much.
Thank you, my friend. Thank you. Thank you, Adolfo. This young man here knows a little bit about housing. And you know, many of you may know that housing has been my passion. He also knows about urban development because he was really a true executive that helped bring back the Bronx. And I'm so proud of the work that he has done in the city of New York, and to stand here with him today and receive his endorsement. You know, ultimately, you know, he is someone that knows about change and understands the need for change right here and now. And that's why it is so important to get his support. You know, I remember when we saw Obama get elected president, the sense of enthusiasm and the sense of hope that was all around us. But I remember back when President Kennedy, you know, remember this, in the middle of the Cold War, you know, a lot of uncertainty, a young Catholic president elected in America. And I remember one thing that he said. He said, the torch must be passed to a new generation of Americans. The torch must be passed to a new generation of Americans. And that is the American way. You know, and that is the way that we all in New York would like to see things happen. So I stand here today as someone that presents a new bold vision for Congress, for the 13th Congressional District, that now takes in parts of the Bronx that were represented by Adolfo Carrión as a district manager in a community board, as a city council member in this hall right here, and as a borough president. He represented that part of the Bronx in a distinguished way, I may say. So I'm happy to be here and receive his endorsement. You know, we're working very hard. I was in Bainbridge Avenue yesterday in the Bronx, and people are excited about this race. I could almost feel change in the air. It is extremely exciting for New Yorkers to know that they will soon have a voice, a vibrant voice that will take on the Tea Party Republicans in Congress, that will address the issue of a runaway student loan problem, that would understand the need for affordable housing, that jobs must come down to the neighborhoods of the Bronx, Northern Manhattan, Harlem, and East Harlem. You know, there should be no special neighborhood. We should work for the entire 13th Congressional District. And I'm happy to receive his endorsement. He is a distinguished New Yorker, and we will be working together. And I hope to also count with his advice and counsel as we move forward, because as I said before, he is an expert with regards to housing and urban development. And he has served at the highest levels, both at the federal government, at the city government, and we're happy to have his endorsements. Thank you so much. Gracias, hermano.